And just like that, an incredible season from the Pistons, a fun season that we all witnessed from the Pistons is over just like that in Game 7.
You are Locked On Pistons, your daily Detroit Pistons podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's the deal? Welcome back to another episode of the Locked On Pistons podcast. Per usual, I am your host, Khahil. Later on, we will make a quick look ahead to the offseason. Obviously, now with the season over, we are going to be talking about the offseason. I mean, the rest of the next few months. But we'll do a quick look ahead at the very end, just quick topics. Some biggest takeaways from this series we'll talk about as well. But we're going to open up. We'll talk about this game. I don't want to spend too much time on this game. One, because it was very tough to watch, and tough for players and for the fans. I'm going to guess to even hear about it, to want to talk about it, and rightfully so. It's the last game of your season. It's a Game 7. There's really no need to really go too deep into it. When it goes this badly into the last game of the season, you basically just flush it down the toilet and you move on to the next year. But the Pistons got absolutely blown out in this Game 7 on their home floor, 125-94. Once the snowball effect, once they started to get behind, they just didn't have it in them to get back in it. It just snowballed, and they just couldn't recover. They could not recover. And I want to start before I get into anything else within this game. I want to start with this. Because I was questioning whether I should start with this or not, so I was hesitant, but I do think this is the right thing to start with. I think it's the right thing. This season was a great success for the Pistons. This was a great. I know it hurts a ton right now for fans. I know they're very upset. I know you guys are hurt, upset, mad. I trust me. I get that was a tough way to see your season end. It definitely was. But this team had an incredible year. First 60-win season in, 20 years. First playoff series win in nearly 20 years. Broke the home losing streak in the playoffs. This is a team that is very, very young. This is their second time in the playoffs ever. They won 4 elimination games. Now, you can say they shouldn't have been there, but nonetheless, they were. And a lot of people and a lot of players fold in those situations. They have shown throughout their careers to consistently fold. And this team that's really led by a 24, 23, and 22-year-old, they faced those circumstances and fought back down in 4 straight elimination games and stayed alive. So there's a lot of things. This season, again, it's going to be hard to say it now and to feel it right now. But this year was an incredible success, and everyone should feel very good about this team and about this season moving forward once the dust settles. I wanted to get that out the way because I know it's about to be really tough. It's about to be really tough the rest of the podcast. But I really felt like it wouldn't be right for me to act like this wasn't a great season or to avoid that, because it was. They had a lot of successes, and this was a team with a lot of flaws. A lot of flaws maybe is a bit strong. It had clear flaws. And despite that, it felt like they maxed out everything they could with this roster. They did their, maybe not 100% tile, because they could have won a Game 7. They could have won this. They could have won Game 5. So maybe not 100th percentile. But damn it, it feels like they were at the 98th percentile of how much they could have gotten out of this roster. And so I think you kind of just have to keep that in mind. And it should be recognized. Now, getting back to this game. There's only really a few things that need to be hit on, and we're not going to go too deep into it, because the game was basically over it wasn't over at halftime, but like maybe a few minutes into the third, it was basically done. It was like, yeah, they're not coming back. It's over. One, very clearly, Cade Cunningham ran out of gas. He completely ran out of gas. His gas tank was on E. He had 12 points in this first half. In the second half, he only had 1 point. That was on a technical foul free throw in the fourth quarter when the game was like a 28-point lead or something. And I'm at the game. I was obviously I was credentialed for the game. And you could just see there was multiple times where he just was like, it looked like he was tired getting back on defense. There's a few times he could have rotated at the rim and just like he was a step late, looked like he was really tired. Cavs would be aggressive with them, bringing the ball up the floor, and he would just get off the ball, not like in the way we talked about that could help the team, but it was just in this, it felt like he was just gassed. It felt like he had nothing left in the tank to give. And Cade's probably going to get killed for the rest of the offseason amongst, trolls and fans, whatever. And that's fine. That's what comes with when you're a 1 seed and you lose. That's what comes with when you're a superstar and you lose. But I come out of this playoffs I'm not even going to talk about that. We'll do that in the Cade review or Cade playoff review. But Cade did a lot for this team. He was asked to carry a ton for this basketball team all playoff run. And not many young guys are asked, not many guys in general are asked to do that. And he's only 24 in his second playoff series. And he was asked to do that. And it was a lot on his plate. And we had talked about it a few episodes ago. If he was eventually going to run out if this is how it kept going. Like, he was eventually going to be taxed out. And it happened here. He was gassed. You can't lose like this. Like, it definitely is incredibly disappointing and unacceptable to get blown out like this on your home court in a Game 7. With that said, I understand why he was gassed. I understand why he didn't have anything left. I mean, he was asked to do way too much for this team for the entire playoffs, and it was bound to happen at some point. At some point, he was going to gas out. And we were already starting to get a few signs of it the last few games from him, if you want to be honest. Like, Game 6, they won, and he didn't really have to have a big game. Like, a lot of the other teammates had great games. That's why they won. He was 7 of 19 in that game, but he didn't have to do much. He had 7 turnovers in that game. He didn't have to do much because the rest of the team was so good. And then it just continued to go down. So Cade didn't play well. Your best player didn't play well. He really struggled. And if that happens in the Game 7, you're probably going to lose. Like, you are probably going to lose. And if he really struggles, you'll probably get blown out. And that's reason number one of why they ended up getting blown out. The other reason is the weaknesses and the flaws of this team were really exposed in this Game 7. And they had done a great job of hiding their flaws until this Game 7. And in Game 7, they all got exposed. I'll just quickly go down the list. I don't want to spend too much time in each one because this is kind of like a game I just want to flush down the toilet and just forget about, to be honest. But number one, Tobias they would not have been here without Tobias. And he has been loved because of what he did to get them here. He turned up in the playoffs and he stepped up in a lot of ways. And I honestly, despite what I'm about to say here, I'm happy with what he was able to. He wasn't supposed to be in this situation. He wasn't supposed to be relied upon to do this. So the fact he was able to do it as much as he did and help them get here, like, you kind of just got to be happy with that. Because he was pretty bad tonight. And what ended up happening was the Cavs went at him over and over and over and over and over again with their guards and with Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen. And he just he didn't have an answer defensively. And that was the main issue on their defense. They just, at the point of attack, at the very start of their possessions defensively, they were going after Tobias. Tobias wouldn't be able to hold up. And then that would just be a trickle-down effect of, okay, now this person has to help. Oh, this person's open. Or that's where it all started. They were really targeting Tobias consistently. And he just had nothing for it. And it was killing their defense. And then to add on to it, he just, after shooting really well for a while there and scoring really well, the last 4 games for Tobias, 6 of 17, 6 of 19, 2 of 7, 0 of 6. He came back down to earth and just wasn't able to have the same level of impact, and that really hurt the team. Because what he was doing before that stretch was keeping them alive and giving them a chance to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. So he was bad on defense and he was bad on offense. And again, he's 33 years old. You weren't expecting him to be in this position. He wasn't supposed to be your secondary scorer. Like, he wasn't supposed to be your second guy. But he was asked to be that, and he stepped up for most of the part in the playoffs. But he was one of the top reasons why this game got out of hand so quickly. And then the last thing I really want to talk about, look, a lot of the bench guys that played amazing in the last game, did they play amazing in this game? No, but these guys, I'm not putting anything on them. They are bench guys for a reason, and they weren't again, they're guys that they're bench guys, and they shouldn't be asked to do what they had to do last game. Like, expecting them to be able to do what they did last game consistently. If that's what you have to rely on to win, it's probably just not going to happen. You have to have better effort from your best players. You have to have better performances from your best players. So Cade didn't play well, gassed out. Tobias came back down to earth. He's older. He shouldn't have been in that role anyways. The fact he was able to do it for as long as he did, fair enough. But he shouldn't have done it, or had to done it. And then the last reason is this. And honestly, you could argue this is probably the biggest reason. The Pistons' bigs got absolutely dominated. Duren, Stu had 0 rebounds in this game. And Paul Reed, while he wasn't bad in this game, this was the first game where it felt like, and again, we really shouldn't be expecting this from Paul Reed, but this was the first game where it was like, oh, Paul Reed came into the game, he's not instantly Superman. Like, and that shouldn't be the expectation, but that really was the expectation for him because of what this team needed from him. And he had done it every other time, but this time it was just the only time. Again, I don't think he played awful, but this was just the one time he played, and he didn't instantly feel like Superman. And that killed them. And obviously Jalen Duren, who I want to talk about a little bit later when we talk about takeaways from this series. So I'll save my overall point I was going to say about him till then in just a few minutes, but Kenny Atkinson said this after the game, and people in the media seating in the media room were mentioning this. Kenny Atkinson said after the game, their adjustment in this game was the tactical adjustment we made in this game was to avoid Thompson. We were just like, if he's near the ball, throw it to someone else. And he went on to talk about how he went on to say that he's never seen something like that before, but they had agreed and come to the conclusion that even if the ball's in Donovan Mitchell's hands and James Harden's hands, if Ausar Thompson is near the ball, just go to somewhere else and get out the way. Just take him away. And that really became a problem for the Pistons because on one hand, that should eliminate the best guards. And it really did. In the first half, James Harden was 2 of 10. Donovan Mitchell was 4 of 10. Neither of them was doing anything. They weren't doing anything. So on one hand, you're like, okay, well, if that's how they're going to do it, then their best players will just be out the game. But what ended up happening was, okay, now it relies on everyone else to win their matchups. And Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart and Paul Reed and Tobias Harris absolutely got dominated in that matchup. Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen were the best players on the floor. They understood that this is what they were going to do. They understood they weren't going to go at Ausar. And they were aware that, hey, it's on us now. This is our opportunity to go out there. We have to win the game for us. We have to go dominate. And honestly, I think if before the series started, you said that's what it came down to, I think Pistons fans would have said, okay, then yeah, we'll take our chances. And tonight, Mobley with 21, 12, and 6. Jarrett Allen, 23 and 7 in 24 minutes. That was the game. The Cavs elected to go away from their guards and just get Ausar away from the ball at all times, and they attacked Duren, they attacked Tobias, they attacked Stu, and they had their way. And that's the biggest reason. Cade, and then that right there is the biggest reason why they lost this game. Those guys got absolutely outplayed in their matchups. So coming up, I want to have my overall takeaways from this series and things that we should feel moving forward. We'll break it down coming up. Today's episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. If you got a sweet tooth like I do, you know how tough it is to find the perfect treat without all the sugar. That's why the confetti craze 5 Hour Energy shot brings a nostalgic flavor back in a whole new way. That is the classic taste you remember, but with tasty caffeine, boost, and zero sugar, excuse me. It's a quick, easy way to satisfy that sweet craving while keeping things simple and on the go. You'll love how convenient it is, too. It's just a small, portable shot you can grab whenever you need a little pick-me-up. It'll become your go-to when you need something sweet without going overboard. You can get the confetti flavor back on 5hourenergy.com or Amazon. You can crack open the confetti craze 5 Hour Energy shot today. Again, if you go to 5hourenergy.com or Amazon, if you'd like to crack open the new confetti craze 5 Hour Energy shot today. Then I've got to tell you guys about another one of our sponsors. This one is Indeed. If I could just find it real quick. Here it is. Workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, inbox overflowing. The one person you have to fill, one position you have to fill still. My goodness, I'm struggling to speak. This loss has me going all over the place. When the pressure's on, you need the right hire. This is a job for sponsored jobs. Indeed, sponsored jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for: skills, experience, location. So you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed sponsored jobs. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. We need the right person to cut through the chaos. This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. And listeners of this show will get $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire. This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. So I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We're free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to us on. That's another great way to support the podcast. I want to say real quick, thank you guys for a great season. Obviously you guys know that the coverage doesn't stop. We still go 5 days a week into the off season, so I'm still going to be around. I'm still going to be here every day, busting my you-know-what off. It's going to be a tough off season. But I do want to say thank you guys for a great season. This was the most fun I've had covering the Pistons. This was a great season, obviously, for the Pistons. It was, and I hope I did a great job. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope I did the best I possibly could in covering this season, and you guys enjoyed my coverage this year. And I just want to again say thank you guys, because we had the most successful season in the history of Locked On Pistons this year. Just you guys, the amount of support you guys showed throughout the year was great, and I hope I was able to, pay that back with the coverage I had. I try to make it as fun as possible. You guys know I'm a numbers guy. I'm deep into the X's and O's. I'm a nerd like that, but I also try to make it super fun and super entertaining. And you guys, the skits, the gimmicks, the characters, I try to make the coverage as fun and also entertaining and informative as possible. So I hope I did that for you guys this year. Let's get into my broader takeaways from this series, and then we'll get into a quicker look ahead into the offseason before we really dive into the offseason in the next few episodes. Bigger takeaways from the series. Number one, I want to talk about Jalen Duren for a moment. That's really what I want to go with first. When you are in the media room and you are around these players and you are around these guys, you got to ask them questions and you see them throughout the year and they see you, it helps humanize them even more. I think you're able to do that without being there, but definitely being there in that situation, in those situations, you definitely just get to a point, and it's been that way for a minute with me, because I've been doing this for a few years now, but you realize, and a lot of fans, probably don't feel this way because obviously, you look at them, they're players and they're, celebrities, but you realize they're just humans. They're humans just like you and me, basically. I say that to say this. We really do have to talk about how Jalen Duren played, because it has to be talked about. But after this game, I feel like I have to include this. After the game, it really felt like Jalen Duren was trying to hold it together. And I felt like after the game, I feel like you could really just see that it was a moment where I feel like you could see that this is a 22-year-old guy, and he knows, or at least he feels he let this team down. That he feels like, if I play better, our season's not over. And that he's seeing all the noise. That he's seeing all the memes, all the videos, all the talk about him. And it just, in that moment, you can see that he's trying to hold it together and just kind of just eat it. But at that moment, you could just feel that, he's basically a kid, man. At 22 years old, let me not talk like that as if I'm some old head or something. Let me pause real quick. It was only a few years ago. But my point is that Man, I was still very much a child at 22 years old. Like, I didn't know anything. I was, I was very immature. Like, you're not really an adult really until you're late, like even in your late 20s, for real. I say all that because I just felt like, man, that he's basically a kid, man, and he's trying to be a professional. He's trying to hold it together, but you can see he was really just trying to hold it together, and it was weighing on him. And I felt bad. I really feel for him because that has to be tough, man. Like I don't know if I'd be able to do it and just keep it going, But with that said, we do got to talk about how he played, and he just wasn't able to get anything going, man. That Game 6, he did. Game 6, he looked like JD from the regular season. Game 6, he was a big reason why they extended their season and got to a Game 7. And he deserves a ton of credit for that. We gave him a ton of credit for it. But throughout this, for the most part, throughout this entire playoff run and in this series, he just really struggled to get anything going. He really struggled to dominate the interior like he did throughout the season, not just as a scorer, but on the glass as well. His handle was a bit exposed in the series, or in this series, and really just in the playoffs. It wasn't as strong as maybe if you watch his regular season and see how he scored off the dribble, as maybe it would, have you believe. I feel like his handle really got exposed in the series. He lost the ball quite a bit, and it made it tough for him to get to his spots. And I think that you just saw that this is a guy who is very young and in his second playoff run ever, and he was struggling to find answers to how defenses were adjusting to him. He was struggling to just find answers throughout the series. And it looked like he finally started to get something going in Game 6. And at the very beginning of this game in Game 7, it looked like, okay, maybe he was going to find this again because he had a few drives that looked pretty good. He had 4 points in the opening quarter, and again, he was very aggressive. Pistons were still in the game. But then after that, it just felt like it kind of reverted back to, he's struggling to score. He's struggling to make an impact on the glass. Allen and Mobley are really taking it to him. I felt like he was really a step slow with a lot of his defensive rotations in this one. I think he got caught out of position quite a few times in this one. And it really all led to the Cavs being able to snowball like they did. Now, a lot of that also was the point of attack was falling apart because they were going after Tobias, but Duren also just wasn't on the top of his game, and he wasn't throughout this playoff run. And we'll talk about his future and what they're going to, the contract situation in the summer. But my takeaway from the series with him is he really struggled. He couldn't find anything to get it going. And lastly, I just feel really bad for him. I've already explained it. I just feel bad for him. That's my number one takeaway coming out of this series with Duren, is that he really let the team down on the court like he did. He hurt the team. He was not good enough in this series, and it very much was him not playing well was a domino effect to so many other things becoming a problem for the Pistons. And the Pistons' refusal to go to Paul Reed consistently until Game 6 is part to do with they have to believe in him and they have to play him, and they don't want to go to Paul Reed and ruin his confidence and that relationship. So again, that it's just a domino effect for him not playing well. So he really hurt the team on the court in this series. And along with that, I feel bad because you saw how at the end of the series, once this game was about to be over, you saw it felt like we watched it literally fall on him at the same time, all on his shoulders at once, and he realized it. And you just kind of felt like, man, that's just a kid, man. And he's really a young man trying to grow up. I just feel bad. I felt bad for him. I did. I felt bad for him. But his play was the criticism towards his way was deserved. He didn't play well, and it killed the team in the playoffs. If Duren plays like Duren, I think they're still playing right now. But, that's just how it goes. And this is part of going through young series or young teams going through series like this. Stuff like this has to happen. And it happened with him in this playoff run, and not much you can do about it. But it definitely was a very big reason why the Pistons weren't able to continue their season in tonight's game, and just really to be in a position where they didn't have to get to Game 7 in Detroit. It's tough. That's the main one. I'm really going to leave it at that. I don't really want to talk about this game anymore. I don't really see the purpose in it. So coming up, we'll take a quick look ahead at what is coming up that I want to talk about in the offseason. And I'll give you guys a teaser. There is something that you guys have asked me about multiple times. I've told you guys I don't want to get into that until the offseason officially starts. Well, the offseason's here now, and I'll get into some of those things that I'll make sure I explain and break down for you guys, some things that happen throughout the season and that need to be addressed in the offseason, and storylines. Like there's a lot. We'll get into it coming up. There's nothing like playoff basketball live. The intensity, the crowd, the rivalries. It's a completely different experience when you're in the building. The NBA playoffs are where unforgettable moments happen, and being there in person just hits different. Game Time makes it incredibly easy to find tickets, even for those hard-to-get playoff games, in just a few taps. And with the Game Time guarantee, you know you're getting 100% authentic tickets on time and at the best price. The Seat View feature is a game changer, too. You can actually see what your view will look like before you buy, and the zone deals are great if you're trying to save. You pick the section, Game Time picks the seat, and you still get a great deal. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Now I've got to tell you guys about another one of our sponsors. This one is Kalshi. The NBA playoffs are here, getting into the conference finals now, and it's the most electric time in basketball. On Kalshi, you can trade every single playoff game, every series, the conference finals, and the championship. And if you look at the game one of the Western Conference Finals, the Western Conference Finals between OKC and San Antonio, right now OKC is trading at 68% probability to beat San Antonio in game one. As the playoffs heat up, those numbers move in real time. You can buy in or out at any time. On Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. For a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use code LOCKEDON to get $10 when you trade 10. KALSHI, Kalshi, trade on anything. 18 plus only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contracts. Trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory. So I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We're free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. That's another great way to support the podcast. Looking ahead to the offseason. This is what we'll be getting into very early. There is a situation where you guys have asked me a lot about why the Pistons didn't go and make a bigger move at the deadline. Why it felt like they at times. I don't want to spoil what we're going to talk about because I want you guys to tune in for the future episode. Basically, I'm going to explain to you guys some things I've heard and I knew throughout the season that will explain some things about why they didn't make a bigger move at the deadline, why Trajan has said that he's, repeatedly said basically that he didn't view this season as like a big-time run, like he just wanted to see his guys, and why that kind of contradicts with what we actually saw and why we were in a situation, or we saw a situation where it contradicted itself. There were some things that, some decisions that were made, and We'll get into some of those behind the scenes stuff, and I think that will directly lead into some of the things that we're going to talk about when it comes to behind the scenes decisions. Directly lead into why you see the Pistons rumored. I don't even know if I buy these rumors, by the way, for these specific players, but the archetype of the player. It's a reason why what we're going to talk about in the next few episodes going into the offseason, why you see them being rumored to be interesting going after basically volume shooting fours. You have seen them nonstop attached to stretch fours, a power forward that shoots a ton of threes, an offensive, spacer. There's a reason for all that, and we will dive into that in the future. This week, we'll get into it. We'll also get into Jalen Duren and Ausar Thompson's contract situation. As of right now, things can change, and I will have a better update for you guys in the future. This is very fresh. I haven't talked with anybody, obviously. The season literally just ended. I don't think anyone wants to talk. Anyone that I happen to know, I don't think anyone wants to talk. I don't really want to talk. I don't think you guys even want to talk. It's a tough situation right now. So I'll have a better update for you guys, hopefully within the next week or two. But as of right now, situations with Jalen Duren and Ausar Thompson's contract extensions is going to be very interesting going into the offseason. That is probably going to be the lead topic of the offseason. Does Ausar get extended? Does Jalen Duren get extended? What's the number? Does Duren get the max? Et cetera, et cetera. I will tell you guys what the latest I heard on that, which again, it wasn't today. So maybe the Game 7 and Game 6, maybe how this series ended changes some of those things. Maybe it does. So that's why I told you I'll have a better update. But at the latest update I can give you guys is that I would expect, again, this is just a quick look. I will dive even further into it over the offseason before anything actually happens, before free agency. But if I were you guys, I would be expecting Ausar to get extended pretty early, pretty quickly. And I would say that Jalen Duren is still likely to be extended and brought back to the team. The number, though, is going to be that's what is going to drive the conversations, because I don't think anybody right now has a confident number for Jalen Duren to pay him. And I think that Duren's camp, rightfully so probably, will say, or I will say, will feel like, look, we didn't get paid last offseason, didn't believe in us enough last offseason to pay us. We were fine with that, and you told us if we went out there and proved it this year, we'd get paid. And he might make an All-NBA team. He was an all-star. He was great during the regular season. Despite how the playoff run went, I would say you probably to expect Duren will still, and again, if I'm in his shoes, I'd do the same thing. If I was in the agent's shoes, I'd do the same thing. I would expect that they will still want a hefty pay because of that. And again, I don't blame them for that. But the number with Duren is going to be what dominates storylines, because that determines a lot. That will determine a lot. I don't think that it... Actually, I'm getting too much into this already, man. I'm spoiling 10 episodes of content already. I'll end it with this. I would expect Ausar to get extended pretty quickly. And Duren, it all depends on the number. And I'm interested to see if the rumored number before of the max, if Duren's camp comes off of it, how much they come off of it. Is it enough for the Pistons to just get them done before the free agency starts? Do the Pistons go into free agency and go into restricted free agency with them because they don't like the number that's there? That's what is top of the line discussion. Ausar and Duren getting extended, and what does the numbers look like? So we'll get into that as well. And then obviously I think the next thing is, who do the Pistons go and get? Because they are going to be aggressive this offseason. I can promise you guys that. I am telling you guys, and if I am wrong, I will do more than wear a clown costume. You guys can pick whatever it is you guys want me to do. But I feel 99.99% confident to be able to tell you guys for certain Trajan Langdon will be aggressive this offseason. He will not be standing around. The whole point of this playoff run and what they did was to see, okay, we need to see what this team needs, what our young core guys need to take them to the next level, to elevate them. Okay, now we know. Now we're going to aggressive. We're going to be aggressive. We're going to get it. Everything I have heard, everything that all throughout the season, even and throughout the playoff run, says that they will do that. So I don't think there needs to be anyone who's worried about, are the Pistons even going to do anything? Are they just going to run it back? I would be genuinely, historically shocked if they didn't get somebody. That is the plan. They will get somebody. They will be aggressive and get somebody. What we will talk about is, who will that somebody be? Who is it? Who are the players or player that they're looking at? Now, again, I don't want to spoil the entire topics and content already, but I think as of right now, it may not be the names that some fans are looking at. Like, I don't know if they view, like, these, I should just say the bigger names. I don't know if those are the names the Pistons are looking at. Like, if they're talking about, people bring up, like, max contract players trading multiple, like, 4 picks for. I don't think it's that type of player. But it's going to be, they're going to go after a very good player to supplement this team. That's why I can guarantee for you guys. We'll talk about who those players could be. And then the last thing that we're going to have to get into is the situations of Tobias Harris, who's an unrestricted free agent, Duncan, whose contract is very specifically created to be flexible with. What's his future? What are they going to do with Harris's contract? And I think these two people I'm about to bring up is going to be probably some of the more interesting conversations we have throughout the offseason. And that is, what does the future hold for Isaiah Stewart? Because Paul Reed just played really well, and Jalen Duren might get extended. Do you want to have that much money tied up into 3 centers? So what's the future hold for Stu? Doesn't mean he's absolutely gone, but I think his future is something we will talk about. And then the last player is Ron Holland. What is his future? This is a top 5 pick that I think a lot of people really like. I like him and high on his future. But what's his future? Because they needed somebody throughout this entire playoff run that was a bigger wing to guard. And JB just didn't trust him because of the lack of the offensive game and the inconsistencies at time on defense. But what's his future? He is a top 5 pick with a lot of potential, and he fills a need if he's able to get to his potential. But do the Pistons think he will get to that potential next year to where they trust him enough to play him extensively, not just during the regular season, but eventually in the playoffs? If they do, I think that's clear what his future is. But if they don't, does he become a trade chip? Does he become someone they use to go get that guy? Does Trajan continue to be more patient and allow him to just develop behind the scenes a little bit more as they continue to be content or to try to be contenders? Those are all the conversations we're going to get into. We'll break them down, and that's what you guys are going to be looking forward to. But that's all I've got for you guys today. This was a horrible way for this season to end, but it was a great year, guys. This team 2 years ago won 14 games, won 44 last year, and then 60 this year. They're on an upward trajectory. They went from missing the playoffs to making the playoffs to winning a series. They're taking the steps. Now, I understand it's not always linear. Sometimes there's another step back. Doesn't mean they're guaranteed to now all of a sudden make the Eastern Conference Finals next year. I understand that. But right now, they are on that trajectory. They have made steps each year. They have gone up each year. They had a great year. It ended horribly. It did. But they had a great season. This was a successful season. And trust me, it sucks that this sucks that it's over. When I sat down to record, I literally felt like the Devin Booker gif of when he lost to the Bucks in the finals and he just looks on the court, sees them celebrating, he's like, damn. And then he turns around. That was me when I sat down. I was like, damn, man. Damn. That's all I could really say. Just like, damn, the season actually is over. Like, this was a special year. I really enjoyed watching this team. I really enjoyed covering this team of players. It was really fun seeing so many people interested in Pistons basketball again, and so many people in the city excited about Pistons basketball again, and it was a special year that no one wanted to have end yet, and it ends just like that. It lets you know just how quickly the playoffs go, how quickly your season can end if you make a mistake, if something poof, it just like that, it's done. And that's something that a young team will realize, but it sucks that this team is we're not going to see this team play again. And when we do see them play again, it's probably going to be a completely different team that we're looking at outside of the core guys. And it sucks, man. This was a fun team. This was a real fun team that all really loved playing with each other. And had like a special bond and aura about them. Kind of like how last year's team did, but then this one had its own. It's sucks that it's over, but this is part of the journey, man. So thank you guys for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. Free and available on all your podcast platforms. Hit that subscribe button to the YouTube channel. Leave us a 5-star review, whatever podcast platform you're listening to us on. Thank you guys for a great season. We'll discuss the offseason coming up. Peace out, everybody.